How's everyone doing tonight? It's quiet. How's everybody over here? All right, well, look, tonight, my name's Lake Lewis. I'm a beat reporter for the Washington Redskins, and also I do some work on ABC Channel 7 as a Redskins insider. Every other Friday, I have a daily podcast that I do called After Practice, and every other Friday, I bring out Morgan Moses. He's a starting right tackle for the Redskins, and we bring out some other Redskins. So we hope to be here where we're going to have some different guys come out, but tonight we want to make this about you guys, the fans. And a lot of you have come out in previous shows that I've done. A lot of you listen to the podcast, which you can hear on Apple, you can hear it on Spotify, you can hear it on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, any other major platforms you can hear this. So tonight what we want to do is we want to get your take on all things Redskins, all things DC sports. And there's been a lot of great storylines going on here. We've had some champions of late. The Redskins don't seem like they're going to be anywhere near that, unfortunately. But we still want to get your take, so don't be afraid. We're going to seek you out, have you come up. You can fire away, ask any questions you want. But one of the things I want to start with is say, where do you think the Redskins are right now? Are they far away from being competitive going into next year? Because I think we've seen over the last month, since we've seen a coaching change from Jay Gruden to Bill Callahan, that the Washington Redskins have been very competitive. They've hung in there with some teams that they were favored to lose by 2 points or more, 2 touchdowns or more. So I think the Redskins right now have a young team that are competing. They're showing people that there is some hope out there. But am I selling the Kool-Aid? Because that's what's done, unfortunately, with the Redskins. So we've got some people out here that I know support the Redskins big time. We'll get you on shortly. But what do you think the Redskins are? Are they a young team that's on their way, or are they a team that's still light years away from being a team that we can, hang our hats on and feel proud about here? Personally, I think the Redskins are closer than I think a lot of people think. I think at the quarterback position, Dwayne Haskins has really started to improve week in, week out. You're seeing him make throws that he wasn't making originally, and I'm going to say it. I blame Jay Gruden for that. Jay Gruden was a guy that I supported for a long time, but I wasn't happy with the way Dwayne wasn't, brought up to speed, so to speak. I mean, you draft a guy in the first round. As Bill Callahan himself said to us in the media room 2 weeks ago, you draft a player in the first round, you're supposed to get them on the field. It's your job to coach them and get them ready to perform. So the fact that Dwayne Haskins had to wait till week 6, week 7 to really be given a shot, I thought that was bad business on the Redskins' part. The other side that I didn't like about that was I wasn't a fan of when they put him in against the Giants and then you didn't go back to him the following week. Those aren't things that winning football teams do. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to bring a guy up right now, Joe. He's a big Redskins fan, comes out, supports some of the stuff that I do. So we're going to get him on with us here real quick. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I know you've been
Happy early Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you. I know you've been waiting to fire away. So go ahead. You throw what you have at me, and hopefully you won't get me in trouble, and I can go up to the park on Monday.
Well, I mean, like you just brought up the fact that they've been in the last couple of weeks. They've lost these games by like 3 points or more, but it feels like I know what they say 3-11 is the record right now, but to me, ever since they fired Jay Gruden, they brought Callahan in. Is this really a 3-11 team? Because, yes, they lost the 49ers in the rain, but they only held them to 9 points. Now, of course, that was in the rain. Who knows what would have happened if it was in the sun?
Right.
Then on a short work week, they go to Minnesota, hold them to 19 points, and by the fourth quarter, it was still a one-score game.
Yep.
Same thing happened against Buffalo. Against Green Bay a couple weeks ago, they lost by 5, and, of course, they missed an extra point. But you held the Packers and Aaron Rodgers to 20 points, and you came close, if you recovered the onside kick, to possibly winning the game.
Yeah.
In Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Could that have happened under Jay Gruden? No. I think with what Bill Callahan has done the last couple of weeks, I mean, they were 0-5, but may have possibly been, of course, it's being optimistic, but 8-6 if they had made those corrections. I mean, the Jets game, I don't even know what to make about the Jets game. I mean, you had a week to prepare for that.
That was a bad game.
Yeah.
That was their worst game under Callahan.
Exactly.
I will say this to answer your question, though. this goes back to them being competitive. They were 14.5-point underdogs against the Packers on the road going to Lambeau Field. And as you said, they covered the spread on that game. Last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, I know the last play of the game, the Eagles pick it up and they run in, blah, blah, blah. But they covered the spread technically. Last week, we're going to talk about that too, because I do want to talk about the fact that was, without question, in all my years of covering the Redskins, that was the worst lack of home support that I've ever seen. It was 80% Eagles fans in there. But to go back to your question, I don't think they would be an 8-6 team if Callahan was a coach from day one. I think they would be much improved. I think that they're too young right now to pretty much have a winning record. I think maybe they'd be hovering around 500. But I will say this. Last week they served notice to the Eagles. The Eagles are a team that's trying to win their division, get in the playoffs. The Cowboys and Giants are the next two. Obviously Sunday against New York, last game against Dallas. Those are all division games. These last 3 games are division games. And they're showing those teams that they're not that far away, not just from beating them, but they're showing them that they're not far away from competing to be perhaps, a wild card team that can compete for the division next year.
Absolutely. I mean, and you got these individuals that have stood out. I mean, you and I were talking earlier, especially on offense. I mean, Adrian Peterson, what can you say about him? I mean, closing another 1,000-yard season. And speaking of another 1,000-yard season, Terry McLaurin. I mean, Scary Terry, we're calling him. I mean, there's been 3 quarterback changes all season,
right,
and he still has shown up every single week. I mean, and plus, I think it was the post game last week. Fred Smoot commented that it's been like the second team in NFL history in the last couple of years to have a rookie quarterback and 3 rookie wide receivers start.
Yeah.
And McLaurin's done well. Harmon started to do well, and like you said, Haskins has begun to pick it up. I mean, I think that was his best game of the season last week.
And don't forget about Steven Sims Jr.
That's right, Steven Sims. That's right.
Steven Sims is a guy that, I go back to training camp, and got to give a quick shout out to one of my camera guys that travels with me, away games and all that stuff, Sergio here. I told him back in training camp that there's something special about Terry McLaurin, the way he runs his routes. He's fast, he's physical, and I just thought that he could have a special season. To have the season that he's had, no, I didn't think he was going to be this special. This is one of the best rookie seasons, rookie campaigns of any Redskins in history. And I think now if you're the Redskins, it changes your draft, status of what you need. Some people just, a month ago were saying that they may have to think of Joe Burrow if they have an opportunity to draft a quarterback. Well, that was lunacy, first of all. You're solidified at your quarterback position, and anyone that doesn't see that, I never try to jump on anyone, but you're an idiot if you think that. I mean, this guy has put himself to be their franchise player. You couple that with his college teammate and Terry McLaurin, and then you mentioned Kelvin Harmon, Steven Sims Jr. I've said this before, though. Imagine if Dwayne Haskins and that crew could have had Trent Williams on the left side, could have had a healthy Jordan Reed underneath. They could have done something. I truly believe that. So
don't forget Vernon Davis if he was healthy.
Absolutely,
I mean, you see
a healthy Vernon Davis.
Field, yeah.
Absolutely. So now, if you're the Redskins, if you're a Redskins fan, I'm not here to sell Kool-Aid. I mean, it's my job to critique, and there's a lot of things that they have to fix and do better. And the first thing starts upstairs, in the front office. But with all that said, I truly feel like if you're a coach that is looking for an opportunity, even a veteran coach, a Mike McCarthy or Greg Williams, or if you're a young guy like an Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City who's looking for an opportunity to get his first crack at being a head coach, if you're sold that Dan Snyder is going to, step aside, and I'll say this, I'm not employed by the Redskins. I cover them. I make my money off of covering them, yes, but I don't get a check directly from them. But I will say this. I do know for a fact, I don't think Dan Snyder's been as involved as a lot of people think he has. I know the guy that's overly involved, and we all know it's Bruce Allen. If the Redskins do what everyone and their mother thinks that they should do, and that's move on from Bruce Allen, if you are a coach and you see that move was made and you're assured that you can come in here and put your fingerprint on this team, I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to consider this, because there's some young talent in the building.
Well, you just mentioned the fact that the fan base at FedEx Field, and clearly there was more green there last Sunday than burgundy and gold. When they lost to the Patriots, and we all expected that, and the day I think that when they fired Jay Gruden, and then Bruce Allen says he called out the fan base annoyed that there was more Patriot fans, and I'm like, then start winning. I mean, when we had Kirk Cousins, you like that. You had that phrase that got this fan base going a bit. I mean, it was on the right track. Yet you don't sign a guy who basically had the best
win.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't win, but I mean that season 9-7. Now look what he's doing in Minnesota. He's got the talent.
Yeah, well,
and now look at how many quarterbacks we've had. 6 quarterbacks in the last 2 years, starting.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think that there are some fundamental things with the Redskins that they have to address. You and I talked off the air about Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Kerrigan is a Redskin. I'll give him that. But maybe at this point right now, I just know I see Ryan Anderson really starting to turn it up. I see Montez Sweat really turning it up. And if you possibly have the number 2 or number 3 pick, you could be looking at a guy like Chase Young sitting there.
I mean, you got all these Alabama people on the defensive line. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got Allen and Payne, and don't forget Matt Ioannidis. Look how healthy he is when he's playing. I mean, he's
there's enough here that if you're a young coach, I mean, I don't think Eric Bieniemy is going to scoff or turn his nose up if the opportunity presents itself. I'm not saying he'll take the job because I think he's going to have some other offers. I do think Alex Smith being here helps, the Eric Bieniemy cause because he was in Kansas City with him. And I know, Dan Snyder likes offense. We know that. They want to, I mean, he's a marketing guy. He wants to be able to sell something, and offensive-minded guys sell tickets, not defensive-minded guys. But I think that the Redskins, again, if you look at Dwayne Haskins, you look at some of these young players, you look at Darius Geis. I know he's had, the injury bug, unfortunately, but when he's on the field, he's a game changer. He's a guy that makes a difference, and he's a nice kid on top of that. So there's a different vibe in that locker room. I tell people this all the time, covering this team so long, there were locker rooms that I just didn't want to go inside of. I mean, there were egos upon egos, guys, there were cliques in the locker room. This isn't like that now. I mean, this is a locker room where these guys are generally just nice young men, and you want to see them do well. You want to see them coached up properly. And so I'm going to throw this out there before we take a quick break. If they win these last 2 games, does Bill Callahan keep this job, or should he even really truly be considered as the guy that they give this job to? Because at the end of the day, we're looking for somebody who's going to get them to play hard, which you can check that off. They're playing hard. You want someone that's developing young talent. It looks like the young talent's developing over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And naturally, you want someone that's winning games. So if they're winning games that are, quote-unquote, meaningless, don't you consider this guy? Would you consider him?
The way that he's been ever since they fired Jay, it's been different. I mean, I'm going back to Jay Gruden for 1 second. I don't want to even talk about Jay Gruden that much, but that week 1, when he does not play Adrian Peterson, a future Hall of Fame running back, hands down.
That was disrespectful.
Right, and he comments
There's
by saying
recovery from that.
And he comments by saying he wanted more special team. Well, I'm sorry, but a Hall of Fame running back cannot replace. What special teams have done well. We got to throw out Tressway and Nick Sundberg, who's up for Walter Payton Man of the Year this year.
Yep.
But Adrian Peterson, you've seen what he's done on the field. Jay Gruden was never a running coach, and yet every time we called him out on it, he always got offended by it in the press. But Callahan's always been known for running the football. They've been competitive with Callahan. If they win these last 2 games, and heck, if they win on Dallas Cowboys, that's a great New Year's for me right there.
Because they could bump Dallas out of the playoffs.
Exactly.
It could bump them from winning the division.
Yeah.
Do you not realize if they do that, if they win these next 2 games, as one of their reporters, I have to seriously consider, does Callahan really deserve to come back? And the answer to that probably would be, yeah, he probably does.
I agree.
It's not a move that – okay, let's call it what it is. We've become accustomed here to every 4 or 5 years we need change, and we need drastic change. And we need change so that you see it was a change, not that it was something that was kept in-house. And I think
I've lost count. What is this, like 8 or 9 head coaches in the last 20 years under the Snyder era?
Yeah.
Or 21 years not going on?
Yeah, but weren't we all calling for at one point in the media, fans, weren't we calling for continuity, consistency? So now you get that, they kept someone in-house and Bill Callahan. These guys have responded to him. There's just no other way to call it. They've responded to his coaching methods. The fact that I'll never forget his first practice, we saw the guys running to their position groups. I'd never seen that under Jay. I saw guys, hand over shoulder walking to him. And it was Club J. And I know people might, once they watch this, they're going to be like, Lake, you're killing a guy you supported. I'm not killing him. I'm just saying that he lost the team with that. There was just no discipline. And I'll give you one prime example of why there was no discipline when he was there. But we're going to do it when we come back from break. I'll give you the reason why the Redskins have one thing going for them that when I say it, you're going to be like, never thought of that. So we'll take a quick break. We're here at Hooters in Fairfax. You're listening to After Practice with myself, Lake Lewis. Hang tight.
Imagine with a simple push of a button, you could be on your way to getting firm, sculpted abs and a sexy waistline with the Contour Core Sculpting System. It's the breakthrough technology that requires no machines, no getting on the floor, no stress, and no strain.
Contour.
The Contour is the real deal.
The secret is Contour's exclusive auto-active muscle toning technology, the digital breakthrough that automatically targets all your abdominal muscles, including your upper abs, lower abs, obliques, and even that stubborn lower belly. Thermographic testing proves Contour activates your entire core. The Contour Core Sculpting System comes with a one-size-fits-all Contour Core Belt, electronic controller with custom digital settings, batteries, and a 1-year warranty, plus an instructional guide and sensible eating plan. And it's all yours to try for 30 days for just $14.95. There's never been an easier, more effective way to get great-looking abs. So call and order right now.
All right, folks, welcome back here after practice with myself, Lake Lewis. We're here at Hooters in Fairfax, Virginia. This is something that you can listen to. You go back and listen to this on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. It's all there, Podcast Alley, Spreaker, something that I do every day. So we're talking about Washington Redskins right now. Just a little bit about where are they right now in the season. Obviously, 2 games left before we get into the offseason. There's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of turmoil heading into the offseason as well. And I said tonight, though, we were going to make this about the fans. And another person that has been supportive of me over the years, and she actually has a podcast that she does, is a good friend of mine, Mrs. Tamika Rector. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And I got to say hi to your mom, Terry, as well. So whenever I see you, Mom's is with her. So, yeah, they come out. So this is someone that on social media has a nice following, and she's very supportive of the team.
Yes.
Super supportive. But you're also very candid about things that you don't necessarily care for. So my question to you is, do you think that this team is closer than what a lot of people think?
I do think so, because we have young players, talented players that have stepped up in the last few weeks with injuries and everything. And you mentioned Ryan Anderson earlier. With Kerrigan out now, Ryan Anderson is a monster.
He looks great, doesn't he?
He's been all over.
He does.
He's been all over. So I think we're closer than what we think. And Haskins is getting better week after week, which I'm happy to see, because I'm tired of people doubting him. How are you going to doubt him when he doesn't have many games under his belt?
It was so bad. I mean, it was almost, and I can say that some Redskins fans were criminal in the way they were treating him. They were saying he was a bust, that, he was terrible. Some of my colleagues in the press box with me were saying the same thing, and I'm like, if you go to my Twitter, you go to my handle, one of the things that's pinned at the very top is me saying a couple weeks ago, if you don't see that Dwayne Haskins is improving, I'm just not sure what you're looking for. When he's come in, since he's come in, you can see one thing, and I've noticed, players respond with other players on the field. So these guys are playing for him as well.
Yeah.
When they score, you see a lot of camaraderie out there. A lot of guys are pulling for each other. And more importantly, been winning games.
Exactly.
I mean, you could talk about Colt McCoy and Case Keenum and, when Kirk Cousins was here. They weren't winning games. So my thing is, maybe not until last week Dwayne didn't have the great stats, but they were in games to win, and they won some. They lost some close ones, which tells me that something is triggered off in there. Last week, though, we saw him come out. We saw him show off a little bit. That's a good sign. So I'm looking forward Sunday. There's got to be some extra motivation because he had his worst game as a pro against the Giants back in week 4. And then on top of that, Daniel Jones is playing.
Yeah.
So I know Dwayne, he's not going to say he's worried about that. But, Tamika, you know there's got to be some fuel there to show who's the better player.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I think his confidence has been boosted a bit too. Okay, so we didn't win against the Eagles, but like you said, he has shown so much improvement, and I think that game was a confidence booster. I said this on Twitter. This game is a confidence booster for him. Had we won, man, a total confidence booster. But
it was close, and I think you can take a lot out of a loss. You know,
yeah, you can.
I can see that. Listen, I said before we went to break, I was going to mention the one thing that you see now that you didn't see before. This is a more physical football team now. This is not a soft team that's getting pushed around. But more importantly, how many turnovers or offsides and dumb penalties have you seen under Callahan?
Let me tell you,
Right.
yes.
It stopped.
Them offsides
Yeah.
and them it has stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to I'm happy to say that they have stopped.
That's discipline. That's all it is.
You can tell. You can tell. You look at other teams in the league, and they don't have as many penalties, but us, the Redskins,
Yeah.
penalties for days.
And so those are the things that you see, you know, on a week in and week out basis, and that shows that there's improvement. And let's face it, when you're a team that's losing and it's getting later in the year, some guys could check out. Maybe some of the veterans have. But these young guys are trying to prove that they belong in the league, that
They're
they
hungry. They're
you know, can
playing
play
like
at
they're
a super
hungry.
high level. This is why I say this team has a chance. So, Tamika, just, you know, I know you have your podcast. What's the name of the podcast?
Ladies POV.
All right. And how can people listen to it? How can people subscribe to it?
You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google Play, any streaming major platform.
Yep.
And it's powered by Anchor.
Okay. So the final thing is, when am I coming on?
Whenever you want. You have an open invitation. You know that.
All right. Cool. I appreciate that.
Soon.
Okay. Yeah. We've got to do that. That's important.
Most definitely.
So folks, real quick, want to let everyone know that Christmas is around the corner, as you know. And if you head on over to sportsjourney.com, where you can actually watch this, and click on Best Buy, you get an additional 20% off. So hopefully you can pick up something before it gets too late. So just go to Sports Journey, click on Best Buy, and you can get your significant other or, you know, kid or whoever something to get you from being in the doghouse so you can get Christmas presents. So happy holidays to you out there. Make sure you go to the site. Before we wrap up and take another quick break, I'm just going to throw something out there with you. Your offensive MVP and your defensive MVP, who would you give it to?
Oh, man. You got me there. Offensive, I don't know. I probably would go with Adrian Peterson.
That's fair. You know, some people may say Terry McLaurin, but
he's another one.
But Adrian Peterson, for me right now, I would give him my vote, just because I think he's steadied the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, he's been the steadying force, and I'm telling you, in the locker room, those guys call him GOAT. Like that's his name to them, and rightfully
do.
so.
I mean, he is.
and rightfully so. But on defense, who would you go with?
On defense, I'm trying to think. I don't know.
It's tough. I'm going to go Matt Ioannidis.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and
That's
I was a little
one.
disappointed. He was a fourth alternate for the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
If the Redskins had a couple more wins under their belt, I think he would be maybe not a starter, but I think he definitely would be a first alternate. But a fourth alternate is kind of disrespectful. You know, that's not what we want.
Just
so
a bit.
yeah, so lots of stuff there. Tamika, I appreciate you coming out as always.
Thank you.
Terry,
appreciate you
I
having
appreciate
me.
you coming out as well. Okay, so we'll take another break. We got to keep doing this. So we'll take another one, and we'll be back here after practice with myself, Lake Lewis. Hang tight.
Car owners, does your vehicle have less than 120,000 miles on it? Is it less than 10 years old? Is your current auto warranty about to expire? Well, Cover America Auto Care has a very special offer just for you. With current economic conditions causing bankruptcies and a downturn in new car sales, Cover America Auto Care now offers inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage direct to the public. You can save thousands of dollars on auto repairs. A toll-free line has been made available so car owners can call and get a free no-obligation quote. This auto protection is backed by an A-rated insurance carrier. Plus, you get a claims department that has an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. 24-hour emergency roadside assistance is also included. You will be amazed at how much you can save on future car repair bills. So call for your free, no-obligation quote now. Do not wait. Get covered today and rest easy tonight.
Welcome back, everyone. After practice with myself, Lake Lewis, here from Hooters in Fairfax, Virginia. Just wanted to give a nice plug out to the folks here at Hooters. Hospitality's been great, and I used to do a show from Hooters a couple years back, and it looked nothing like this. So this place is first class. It's a nice place. I mean, it looks like a great sports bar to come to. If I wasn't working on Sundays, I possibly would come in. Now, one of the things that we also like to do on this podcast is we switch gears a little bit. You know, we talk about sports, life, a little bit of everything. And, you know, right now we're going to have a fun segment because we have two local aspiring actors and actresses, you know, sitting with me, an actor and actress. Can't have plural, you know, because it's one of each here. So with me right now, I have Danielle Sandler and I have David Deloach. And they are going to be starring in a movie, as I said, local folks here, so we have to support them, called Volkov. So welcome on. I appreciate you guys coming out. And
Thank you.
So, Dave, can you tell us a little bit about this movie? And, I mean, I know it's Russian spies and things like that, but we hear that every day now, unfortunately. So
Yes, we do.
what makes your movie different from some of the others out there?
Well, we shot about a year ago. We shot a pilot to this. It's about a 28-minute pilot. It's on Amazon live now, so you can watch. Pick up the pilot. Volkov is the original pilot. It's 28 minutes. The one that we're shooting now is the sequel to that, it is an hour and a half long segment, so it will be a full-length feature. We've already started shooting. We've shot the first 12 scenes already for that movie, and it's going to be pretty big.
You've been busy. I mean, that's a lot of shooting. So,
Yes.
so this is like a year in the making. So
Yes.
let me ask you this: a movie that is a year long. I mean, what happens if like a trend changes or something like that during that year's time? I mean, is it something where you kind of can lose some momentum, or it's timeless piece?
It's funny you ask that. It seems as though we do have like weeks in between shoots. We have another shoot coming up in January. We shot one 2 weeks ago. It doesn't really lose momentum because what we're doing is during that time that we're off, we're all practicing, preparing for it, and by the day that we come out to the scene, we are ready to go. So.
Okay. Well, Danielle is welcome on. And
Hi, hello.
so what's your role in this movie?
So like you said, that the original film was supposed to be, it was a pilot. It was supposed to be 6 to 7 minutes, and it turned out to be 28 minutes. It might be a little bit shorter sometimes for like film festivals that they were entered in. But I played the waitress in the movie, a very sassy, sexy waitress
All right,
in the
okay.
film, who gets pinched and gets messed with by the other bikers in the bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I mean,
And she has a
listen.
miserable life.
Yeah. So you guys can't give us a spoiler or anything like that. I mean, I can understand if you can't.
Well, we can't give a spoiler, but I mean, you can find our teaser on Facebook. It's on YouTube as well. It dropped on YouTube at 6 p.m. like When was it? It was like 2 days ago, I think, or 3 days ago.
Last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, last weekend.
So this is fresh content for everyone out
Yes.
there. So this
is Volkov Origins.
okay.
The
All right,
first one
so
was
we've-
Volkov. This is Volkov Origins, so it's a prequel.
So we have
Yeah.
stars here. When you get 2 movies,
Yeah.
that's when you're big time now. So I'm sitting up here with some big time folks. I mean, hey,
Sequel,
you've
prequel.
gone on to the second one. So just let me ask you, Danielle, is this
Yeah.
something? Is this something that you've wanted to do for a while? I mean, are you an actress where this is like something you want to make a lifelong goal, or?
Yes, I've been wanting to be an actress for a long time. I think I've been wanting to be an actress ever since I was a little girl. Honestly,
That's perfectly fine. I've been wanting to do this since I was a little boy. I'm still a little boy, though. So,
yeah, my parents always like brought me up on the classics. So,
Okay.
and I have a degree in film too from Towson University. So,
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Educated person here. All right, so we're gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna throw some stuff at you since you're the movie folks, the actor, the actress.
Yes.
Folks, check them out. Volkov, we're talking about here. I'm gonna ask you, both of you, favorite movie of all time for you.
I'm going to have to go with Godfather.
Okay, I mean you can't beat that. Speaking of that.
Having Sicilian blood in me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I was just about to say, I don't know maybe if I should say that now because you said you're Sicilian blood, but someone was telling me that I need to watch The Irishman. They told me that
really
was a
good.
great.
It was good.
Okay, but it was long though, right? Like 3 hours?
It was long.
I thought it was a little too long.
Okay, all right, so we're on the same page there. So, yeah, I'm going to check that out. So, Danielle, your favorite movie of all time?
Gosh. Okay. It must be. I keep telling people this. It's got to be Lost in Translation.
Okay.
My mom and I
okay.
really bond over that movie, and I just thought.
That's a tearjerker.
It's a tearjerker,
Right.
but I mean everybody can watch it. It's a very it's got like a deep meaning,
Yeah,
And,
that's a good one.
I mean,
That's a good one.
Scarlett Johansson, she was so young, and then she's amazing.
So I'll tell you, since we're switching gears, I'll tell you my favorite movie of all time. It's going to surprise a lot of people in here. My favorite movie of all time is The 10 Commandments
Ooh, that's a good one.
with Charlton Heston.
That's a great movie.
I mean,
Charlton
every Easter it
Heston,
would
yeah.
come on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I don't know. I've always liked that, so I can watch that at any time.
I really like the way they did the splitting of the Red Sea.
Of
That
course.
was really
Yeah, I just, I've always thought, well, I will leave that part alone. But anyway, I'm not walking through no Red Seas. But so how can everyone find this again? I just want to give you guys a chance to plug this one more time.
So you can go on our Facebook page. We have a Volkov Facebook page.
Okay.
We also have. You can also look it up on YouTube. It dropped last week. I'm sorry, not last week. Last weekend, I'd
Okay.
say. The past weekend at 6 p.m. So it's like on there. It's a teaser. Oh, and right. Tell them that too. You promote that part.
We have the original pilot is being shot. That was shot last year. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can find it on Amazon Prime and just look up Volkov, and
Okay.
you'll see Danielle in it. I was only an extra in that one, but I have about
Get
6
some
parts
royalties.
in this
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
hey, some royalty
Yeah.
money coming in.
But
That's the
I'm-
main
I'm
thing.
Production assistant and actor in the second one. So
Okay. Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for coming on. And
I just
anything?
want to say David did a fantastic job as a production assistant. Really, that's a hard job too. So he did a really good job.
Okay. You can exchange money after that. Yeah. So, no.
she did a great job with helping with the makeup and hair too. So
Cool.
and
Cool.
it's only been one set of scenes that we've done. 12.
All right. Well, I'm going to
12
make
seasons.
sure my team, they get a chance to help promote and push that out for you guys and
Thank you.
give me something to look forward to this
We
weekend to
appreciate
check
that.
out. So I appreciate
And
you coming on.
We do have to, if you don't mind, if we can have a shout out to our producer George Dibble and assistant.
And Candice Bouvin.
Yes.
Okay.
And Wesley, who is the star actor in the movie.
Okay.
And,
Sounds good.
And writer.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to take another break. We have to keep doing this, folks. And we have like 2 more segments before we wrap up here from Hooters in Fairfax. If you haven't had a chance to get some of the food, do so. I know I'm going to I don't know if they still have the crab legs here anymore. They used to have that years ago.
We just ate the crab legs. They were so good.
Oh, yeah.
And the
I
shrimp,
think I'm
they
gonna
were
be
very good.
cracking some crabs a little bit later. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, more right here on After Practice with myself, Lake Lewis. Hang tight.
Let me tell you some of the reasons people get into trouble with credit cards. A job loss or salary cut, an unexpected expense, a divorce. As founder of Consolidated Credit, I understand that credit card problems are not about overspending. It's about emergencies and unexpected situations. There's a lot of ways to get into trouble with debt. There's only one trusted way to get out. Consolidated Credit.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
1-800-445-1912.
All right, folks, we're here at Fairfax 2, the Hooters over here at Fairfax 2, and I'm here with Mark Knight and some of the lovely ladies here at Hooters, and we had a great time tonight. We had several guests come on the podcast with myself, and we mixed it up. We had some budding movie stars on. We had a podcast personality on. As always, Washington Redskins right tackle Morgan Moses comes out with me from time to time, so next time we're here, which is next week, we hope to have him back out with us. We'll talk about this great establishment. When I came here earlier, I couldn't believe how nice it was, because I had done some shows in the past years. It was a totally different setup. So this is first class. Everyone who was with us tonight was hospitable. So we can't thank you guys enough.
We appreciate you guys coming out. Hope to see you guys again soon.
I think we're here next week, if I'm not mistaken.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Just want to let you guys know that, of course, we're open 7 days a week. We'll be open on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. We also have great calendars for sale, as well as a lot of merch that you guys can see behind us for sale as well. The calendars, if you guys don't personally want them yourselves, you can actually donate them to your local charity or the troops. It's a good calendar for the troops. We love to support our troops. So thank you, and we appreciate it.
All right, folks, so remember, we'll be back here next week. More great stuff coming up on our podcast, Sports Journey. We'll have Washington Redskins, Morgan Moses coming out as well. So look forward to us. We'll be out here. Have a good one.
See you later.